Hey everyone, back again for another episode of Little Things You Should Know. I think this one will be short, but I also think it's very, very important. One of the things we have to do every single day in our work lives is have meetings with people, and oftentimes we get meetinged to death. So, what I've endeavored to do is try to create what I think of as frameworks or structures of meetings that facilitate the flow of information throughout an organization in a really efficient way. So I call those I I call those core team meetings. And so I run core team meetings in a very specific way. If you've heard of holacracy or sociocracy, they have some really incredible built-in things about them for running meetings. And so over time, I've developed a thing that I call the core team meeting outline. And I'm going to show that to you now. And this can be used inside any organization or any family. Sometimes we even use this in our family when we've got extremely busy periods of time with lots of projects going on. What you see here is my GitHub repository. It's just Kent Langley. And if you go to the Kent Langley /tools repo, you'll find a series of files. And in here, one of them is called Core Team Meeting Guidance. It's a markdown file. I'm going to open that one up. And this is how I designed. This is how I have designed what I call the anchor meeting architecture of one of the companies I've co-founded called OpenEXO. And so there are several of these anchor meetings a week, but they're very specific. They're typically very efficient. They always start and end on time, and you always leave them with a complete update of what you need to know. That's one of the benefits of this structure, by the way, is this meeting is designed, right? It's not an accident. It's tightly facilitated. I'm just going to read here because it is clear. The meeting will be facilitated by one of the core team members. Facilitation is a learned skill. I happen to facilitate a number of them, and oftentimes we'll hand that off to another facilitator to run over time. And this is a really great way to get the team to learn how to do these concepts. All of my core team meetings have two key objectives. Objective number one is clarity for the team about each other's projects and cross-departmental or experimental updates as required. We all work together in lockstep, so let's share the key parts of our projects with one another. And this is the first moment in the meeting where if you hear something, make a little note. Just make a little note because you're going to get a moment to talk about that. You need something then. You've detected something. Humans are the best sensors, and it's listening to others' project updates attentively that will give you a trigger as to things that you could do to improve the situation. So be thinking as you're listening to project updates, how could this be better? How could it help me? How could it help the company? You also make sure, as a key meeting objective, that every single team member has an opportunity to speak up without question or fear of reproach. Give your updates. You should be allowed to speak your mind. We're all grown-ups here. The meeting agenda and process is really kept very, very straightforward. The timing is really important, but at the same time, it creates a space where things tend to work. In the first 1 to 5 minutes, this is the check-in period. Don't start your meeting, especially virtual meetings, at top of the hour in 1 second. You're guaranteed that someone's going to log on in a minute after, 2 minutes after, 3 minutes after, and they're going to feel lost as the first thing that happens when they come into the meeting. You don't want that. So say something nice about the weather, share something nice from your life. This is a moment when you can be human even on a virtual meeting, so let's do that. It's important. And then promise everyone that the official meeting will start at 5 minutes after the hour. This gives people just enough buffer to, take that restroom break or take that last bite of lunch, whatever it might be. It's just an important part of starting a meeting in a reasonable, orderly way. Now, minutes 6 to 35, this is when you actually want to do the project updates. You might say, gosh, our meetings typically run hours. Well, that's a sign that something may not be quite right, because each person, one at a time, is going to update the team on their projects. The facilitator will kick things off and keep people reasonably on time. If there are any questions, they'll get asked of the person who just gave an update. These are clarifying questions only. I'm going to have an event. They didn't say when. Say, well, when's the event? What day? They might tell you the day. That's a good clarifying question. Makes sense. You do not want to go down the rabbit hole of, deep diving on a particular person's update at this point. The goal is to get all the projects update out of the team members. And again, if you have something really more than a clarifying point that you need to make or hear, don't note it down. There's something coming up for you to deal with that. And that's the next step of the meeting. It's called the dynamic agenda. Now, sometimes this starts before 36 minutes, of course. I mean, you just can't really, these are guidelines. The dynamic agenda is when you've heard something during the project updates from all of your team members that you need to do something more about. Oftentimes, these will never happen because they'll be taken care of by the clarifying points in the prior section. But the facilitator will ask, do you have anything further you need to discuss, or do you need anything, some variation on that theme? The facilitator will make a list of those things, so often share it right back with the team, and then you'll process them one at a time. Now listen, this is the really important point. When you're processing the dynamic agenda, the intent is not to solve everything in the meeting. That's not what these meetings are for. If that was the case, you'd be in meetings for 9 hours a day, 8 days a week, and your life would be miserable. No, all you have to do is process the need to a viable next step and get someone to accept accountability for delivery of that next step. Okay? And guess what will happen? The next time you have this meeting, they'll talk about what they did. That'll be part of their project updates, and the whole cycle repeats. It's really, really nice. It creates a cadence, a drumbeat of really the organization. And then when you are running these meetings in key areas, obviously not everybody goes to every meeting. There are people, though, that will be in more than one of them, and they can share across those meeting boundaries what they're seeing. This creates, this facilitates, as I said, a communications architecture across the entire organization that's extremely valuable. And so what are the key results that come out of a meeting run in this way? This regimented to a degree, but not so much so that it's in human way. Well, you get four really key things. You get awareness of project status. You get an opportunity to be heard. Do not underestimate that one. Every single team member that's in a meeting gets a chance to stand on the podium. This is really important over the long term because people feeling that they're not heard or actually not being heard can create a lot of the problems that would manifest in an organization later. So you don't want that to happen. You want to make sure everybody has a chance. And by the way, if somebody's not speaking up in meetings, ask yourself, should they be there? Are we wasting their time? What are they contributing? Are they shy? Do they have a problem? Do they need help? There's all kinds of things that could be causing someone not to speak up in a meeting. And anytime you, as the facilitator, encounter those things, you want to root it out quickly because it is the potential for a problem later. Something's wrong. You just don't know what it is yet. And then lastly, every dynamic agenda item has a valid next step. This is like I said before, you do not leave this meeting with something brought up in the dynamic agenda round without a valid next step. You just don't do it. This is a big part of what makes the engine run. And then also many times during the project updates, the team will output a list of resources that then should be shared back to the whole team because they could facilitate future discoveries, innovations, optimizations, who knows. I really like this format. I've been using it for actually quite a few years now to great success. So that's it for today. The little thing that you should know is that there are ways to run meetings that are productive and human and reasonable. And I've just shared one of them with you. And this one is not hard to apply. It just takes a modicum of skill and persistence to get it going. So let me know if this helps you or if you have further questions in the comments, and we'll take care of it. And lastly, remember that this is a YouTube channel, and so likes and subscribes really help me a lot. I'm really pushing right now to get to 100 subscribers so I can label my channel with a human name and not just a long hash. So I think I'll get there, and everyone counts. So thank you so much for listening. Thank you for watching my videos, and please do like, subscribe, click the notification button, whichever one works for you, or just watch the shows if that's what makes you happy too. I think that's it for today. So everybody have a wonderful, wonderful rest of your day, wherever you are, and I can't wait to hear from you in the comments if there's something you think, maybe you think something I should know, or something you'd like to know more about. Let me know that in the comments too. Okay, thank you. Have a great rest of your day wherever you are.